Call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. Council microphones on if they're not. This is a work session of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale, Tuesday, April 7th, 2015. I'd ask everyone at this time to please rise to salute our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
President Levy.
Here.
Council members, Delariva asked to be excused. He's has a work commitment. Costa.
Here.
D'Amato.
Here.
Hudson. Here. Sandemeyer.
Here.
Yazdi.
Here.
Also with us, Jane McCarthy, our municipal clerk, and our borough attorney, Fred Semrau. This is an official meeting of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale on December 12, 2014. The date, time, and place of this official meeting was faxed and mailed to all local news media and posted here at Borough Hall. There is no need for an early executive session. The first matter is a presentation, and I would ask the council entirely to join me off the dais for this presentation. Gentlemen, you coming in, please? You just. How are you, Chief?
Good, man.
Well, great to see you.
See you also.
Officer Fatzer, great to see you. Good to see you. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening, first and foremost, and thank you all for being here. You know, I say it often, and I say it with a lot of pride when I talk about our police department, and because it's easy to do. It comes from the heart. It comes easy to speak highly of our entire department, from our leadership, and with all our officers, down to our dispatchers and everyone involved. It's just an outstanding group of men and women. And when something like we're going to honor this evening occurs, it is important to the governing body that we recognize the entire department and, at times like this, individuals. Tonight we're here to recognize and honor the efforts of valor performed by Officer Fatzer, and I'll explain in detail what had occurred. But what amazes me most about our entire department and Officer Fatzer's actions this particular day just sum it up and bring everything I think and what we all think about our police department to such truth. Their commitment to our community, their compassion to our community. That's the one thing that impresses me the most, is the compassion that our officers, all of them, have for not just our residents, but for anyone they come in contact with. And it is so impressive and makes each and every one, as a governing body and as your mayor, very proud every day. You know, I say a prayer every day for our borough, and I say a prayer every day for our police officers, because they are risking their lives each and every day. And that is providing our residents and our community a place that we can call home and always call safe. And it is certainly an honor today to recognize Officer Fatzer for what he had accomplished on an evening of March 14th, when not only did Officer Fatzer risk his own life, he saved lives. He saved lives of our community members. He saved lives of a fellow officer. And that kind of action cannot go without being recognized, and that's what we're here to do this evening. Now, Chief, I don't know if you wanted to say a few words or before I present the plaque.
Well, essentially, you want me to give a little...
Do whatever you'd like, yes, please.
Just to give a little background on what occurred. It was March 14th at approximately 2:45 a.m. in the morning, and the officers on our department were dispatched to Quick Check for a report of from the employee at the Quick Check that there was a woman there who was asking for help, and that the employee noticed that she had what looked like blood was on her shirt. So obviously the officers, in this case Officer Mike Fatzer and Officer Vincent Graziosa, respond to the Quick Check, and they're interacting with this lady who was in need of help. When interacting with her and handling their investigation, it was determined that she appeared to be intoxicated, somewhat combative and uncooperative with the officers. At some point during the investigation, while outside the quick check, she fell backwards. And Officer Fatzer was attempting to help her up, at which time she pulled out of her pocket of her jacket, she pulled out a handgun, in this case a .357 Magnum revolver, which ultimately it was determined was loaded with a hollow point bullet in the chamber. Due to his quick thinking and actions, the mayor's right, lives were saved. Ultimately, this lady pointed the gun at another officer, in this case Vincent Graziosa, who was walking back to his car to check on paperwork and again, just conduct his part of the investigation. So Mike proceeded to yell out to Vincent and, without hesitation, proceeded to reach over the shoulder and grab the gun away from this, individual. Again, that could have been a tragic outcome very quickly, and these things happen so quickly, there's no time to think. You have to react. In this case, Mike reacted. He reacted tremendously. He used his training, his quick thinking, and he wasn't, he was squared away in this particular case to the point where, he potentially saved Officer Graziosa's life, this woman's life. If it would have turned into any type of shooting event, this could have been a real terrible ending. But thankfully, thanks to Mike and his actions, that was all prevented. And I'm extremely proud of the way you handled it, the way you represented all our department, but you did a tremendous job. And I'm very proud of your actions.
Thank you, Chief. And Patrolman Michael Fatzer, again, thank you just doesn't seem enough, but I'm honored and privileged to honor you this evening. And with that said, I present to you Patrolman Michael Fatzer in grateful appreciation of your quick recognition of a potential deadly force encounter in responding to a call on March 14, 2000, when a female presented a loaded .357 Magnum revolver and pointed it in the direction of a fellow officer. Your quick recognition and immediate action to disarm the female undoubtedly saved lives. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your professionalism that you display. And not just that day, but every day. This is presented by myself, the mayor, and the council today, April 7, 2015. Thank you. Thank you. Again, just council, anyone want to say anything before we wrap that up? Another round of applause for Officer Patrick. Thanks to all of you. I didn't pick that up. That's why I stumbled. Have to fix it. Jesus. Sorry. Excuse me?
First given us after Sheriff's called us.
I told you. Before we resume with our regular agenda, I'd ask for council to give me a motion to appoint Darren A. Miller as a member of our CERT, Community Emergency Response Team. Who makes that motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Other than thanking Darren for serving the community as you have done for so many years already, and your entire family. We thank you for being here tonight, and I'm going to swear you in this evening. So without further ado, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Darren, if you would come on up. Keep in the Miller family. Good to see you. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'd ask you to simply raise your right hand and repeat after me. When I get to the part of office of, just say CERT. Okay? I state your name.
I, Darren Miller,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
and the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and the governments
and the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of office of,
all the duties and office of said team,
according to the best of my ability. According to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you for serving. We'll get you signed and don't turn it back.
All right.
So you just sign there and we'll take care of the rest. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know you're proud, Dad. Thanks for bringing me. Thank you, Vernon.
After last week? Yeah.
Must be here. You get stumbled on?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I knew right away.
What's that?
I knew right away.
2015. It's 14. And I proofread the thing 9 times.
I did too.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And before I open early public comment, there are 2 non-agenda items that we will be discussing this evening. One is I'll be asking for a motion for a resolution on a pending legislation for the Transparency Tax Act, which is intended to provide clarity to local property taxpayers and share proportionally the burden of assessment appeal refunds between all taxing authorities. As you know, when there's a tax appeal and the borough has to give a refund, we are not compensated for the Board of Ed or county share. They don't have to contribute to that appeal. So this legislation is looking to try to allow that to be proportionally shared. So I'll be asking for a resolution in support of that. And the other item I'd like to talk about is food licensing for home-based businesses. We have one generic permit fee of $400 for any food establishment. And it's kind of prohibitive for someone who wants to do it by the book, who may have, make canned jellies at home and whatnot. It kind of is prohibitive, that fee. So I researched it, and a lot of towns do it on square footage of facility. The Board of Health likes a consistent number, but we, as other towns have done, can do a resolution and I don't think we'll take action this evening, but something we want to talk about, to lessen that cost for those kind of exposures. And I'd ask Fred to research a little bit for us, maybe a $100 fee, whatever it can be, something that a restaurant wouldn't be paying. I don't think it's an equal comparison. So those are the 2 non-agenda items for discussion tonight.
Is this something that we've discussed with the Board of Health?
Yes,
and Peter?
yes, that's
Okay.
where the information I got back came from, which I'll share with you when we get to that portion of the agenda. But that's the topic, food licensing. Okay, motion for early public comment, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak to an agenda item, please come on up, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, motion to close.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reports, anyone? Jane, you have anything for us?
Just for information, the deadline for party affiliation change is tomorrow, April 8th. It's tomorrow, right? And our office obviously is open till 4. Last day to register to vote before the primary election is May 12th, and the office will be open till 9. And the Memorial Day Parade will be May 25th in Kinnelon this year. Lineup is 8:30. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Fred, do you have anything for us?
Just, Mayor, that we've now lodged the foreclosure complaints with the foreclosure unit. As we've gone back through that process, we hope by the end of the year we'll have that completed. And for executive session tonight as scheduled, I'd like to update the governing body on pending litigation, and that's my report.
Great, thank you very much. Any council member have anything for us?
Trout fishing contest this Saturday, 10 a.m.
Yeah, the trout are being stocked
Little
tomorrow.
League opening day,
Is the 18th.
18th.
For
When does that start, John? 9?
9 a.m. From DeLazier to Anderson Field. Okay. Anyone else have anything? Just a couple things. The audit has been concluded. We don't have the final product yet, but the auditors have come and gone. I think it's a borough record so quickly, and look forward to the report. But one thing they do, which they've been doing for years, and I've received many phone calls about it today as well as Jane, they do random selection of mailings to homeowners or residents could be a utility bill, could be a tax bill. It's a checks and balance of the audit where they say, dear homeowner, our records indicate you were billed X amount of money for third quarter of 14. Please confirm that's the dollar amount. Our records indicate you were billed X amount for your sewer and water bill. So it's confusing. We've received many calls about it, but it's something that happens every year. It's not new. It's part of the audit process for checks and balance. And so if you hear about it, have anyone call me, but it's part of the process. I had one woman today thought it was related to her and her billing. And, once I explained it, it was understandable, but it can be confusing. The budget process is close to, I'd say, 99% complete. We will hope to introduce the first meeting of May, and we'll discuss in detail at that time. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
And we have resolution 5 point
4.1, I'm sorry.
2015 4.1. This is endorsing our Veterans Poppy campaign and a request from the Ladies Auxiliary to waive our annual permit for their annual spring fundraiser on May 9th. I'm sorry, we had a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. And further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. There's no pending business. New business, we've dealt with item A already. Item B, discussion in regards to notice of receipt of a DOT grant in the amount of $200,000 for REVAV. Well, I received notice from our senator. I have not yet received formal notice from the DOT, but our senator sent us a notice congratulating us. As you know, we applied for resurfacing from Knowles Road to Main Street for REVAV. But we also applied for a community development block grant for the utility section of Lower Reeve from Main to Oak. So what I'm hoping we can achieve, the problem is the DOT, the community development block grant, we normally don't hear about till the fall, which would mean funding would be ready for next year. I'm confident that we can do the upper portion, Oak to Knowles, pave that, and then carry the balance for next year when we do the balance of Reeve, including the utility. But the good news is we are being awarded $200,000 of the, I think, $250,000 we've asked for the paving of REVAV. So that's great news. Okay, moving along. Item C. I need a motion to introduce ordinance
9, 2015.
amending Chapter 6 Property Maintenance. Who is introduced by title? With second and final reading, Jane, on what do you want to do?
Well, the second one is a zoning ordinance, which has to go to the planning board, so I think we need time for that. So I think we should do this. I want them both on May.
Well, the first one doesn't have to go to zoning.
Right, that one doesn't.
But we could do that. Why don't we do May 19th on both of them?
Okay.
This way the planning board would have opportunity on April 16th to review, I hope. Okay. Chapter 6, property maintenance. So who makes the motion to introduce by title?
So moved. Second.
And just so everyone is aware of what we're doing here, just real briefly. It's a very modest change. Under property maintenance, the landscaping section, it used to read, premises shall be kept from becoming overgrown and or unsightly along public right-of-ways and shall be kept in a maintained state free of refuse. We just cleared the language up so there's no ambiguity. Its bottom line is premises along public right-of-way shall be kept and maintained, period, a state of free of any refuse. Vegetation along right-of-way shall be kept from becoming hazardous to pedestrians or motorists. That is the modest change in the property maintenance section. And you want a roll call? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Costa?
Yes.
D'Amato?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Sondermeyer?
Yes.
Yonsting.
Yes.
And that would be an ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale in the County of Passaic and State of New Jersey to amend Chapter 6, Property Maintenance, Section 15-3, regulations and requirements of the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale.
Okay, thank you. The next item, which will be referred or needs to be sent to the planning board, is introduction of by title of 10/2015, amending Chapter 92 zoning, parking and loading and automotive services. Second and final reading, again, May 19th. Who makes that motion, please?
Second.
And just so everyone knows what this is, again, Section F of that ordinance currently says the garaging, storing, and parking of any commercial vehicle in excess of 3/4 ton capacity is being changed to just say in excess of 12,000 pounds. So it was exceeding 3/4 of a ton. It's now 12,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. Shall be permitted per residential dwelling other than garage vehicles. Again, just cleaning that up there. So roll call, please.
Councilmembers D'Amato.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Costa.
Yes.
I'm sorry? Oh, your wishful thinking. Okay, next item. I need a resolution 2015 4.2, authorizing municipal finance to receive uncashed refunds. Who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Just so you know, when uncashed refunds from the court offices go as such, this allows finance to cancel that and lapse to finance and surplus. So roll call.
Councilmembers Hudson.
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Costa.
Yes.
D'Amato.
Yes.
Need adoption, resolution 2015 4.3, amending the temporary budget. Who makes that motion?
So moved. Second.
And just so you know, as of April 1st, we are allowed to amend the temporary budget, and the resolution is quite clear on all the line items being amended, so the borough can continue to operate until the budget is adopted. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes. Yes.
D'Amato.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
I had two non-agenda items. The first was I need a resolution, I need a motion for resolution 2015 4.4, supporting legislation of the Transparency Tax Act of 2015. Again, I stated earlier, intended to provide clarity to local property taxpayers and to share proportionally the burden of assessment appeal refunds. Again, I explained that the Board of Ed and County don't have to pay any fair share of a appeal, and this legislation is hoping to seek that occur. So who makes that motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Yazdi.
Yes.
Costa.
Yes.
D'Amato.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Jane, here's a sample of that. And the other non-agenda item was food licensing. Our code calls for a $400 food establishment permit, which would hinder someone from having a small home business and wanting to do it the right way with Board of Health inspections and the like, from possibly considering it due to that amount. I reached out to Tim Zajac, our registered health sanitarian, and asked him, just to give me some input about other towns, what they do. And his response was the health department attempted to have all of the towns that they contract with to have retail food fees based on risk factor. Riverdale did not want to do that, so their fees are based on square footage as well as risk factor. We have no other risk establishment on the books, level 4 establishments, that are not also level 3 establishments. Those are all sushi places that have full restaurants and therefore extensive inspections, hence the $400 fee. This establishment, unfortunately, is a unique situation, the small home businesses. We're going to discuss the matter with Mr. Coriel when he returns next week. Other towns have passed a resolution to lower fees for certain licenses. It's up to the borough and the governing body. So I'm just putting it out there, get some feedback. The Board of Health is going to talk about it with Peter Coriel and get back to me. But I think it's something we should look at if there's interest in the governing body. Possibly Fred, you can do some of the other towns you may work with, a little
Give you a survey.
survey of whether they do it by resolution, whether they amend code to say, I would say that would be the ideal way. This way we're not doing having to worry about resolutions every year. Whether it be by risk or square footage. Okay? Does anyone have any thoughts on that or comments? All right, I'll bring it back to you when I get feedback from Fred and the Board of Health.
John, is it just food?
Food establishments, yeah. They require Board of Health inspections.
You make little gadgets and sell them off. There's no requirements for it.
That's again a zoning question. You'd have to, that would be a Dan Hagberg question as far as, your incidental home offices are allowed, I mean, to some degree, but I don't know where it draws the line of, you know, I mean, if you're manufacturing cabinets, yeah, you'd probably have to get permits and probably not be allowed to do that. You know, you can't, it's manufacturing, so, yeah. Still manufacturing, again, I'm just specifically talking about food establishments right now, so, okay. So, no action to be taken, just for conversation, and I'll bring it back to you. This time I need a motion to open late public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak, please come on up, state your name and address for the record.
Jack Miller, Revav. Couple questions. Sloan Park, where do we stand with that?
The new modeling was just completed by our engineers at more cost to the borough, and it's on its way down to the DEP, and, you know, we're totally at their mercy. I've contacted every possible legislature, everyone above the departments I'm dealing with, head, and, you know, we're just taking the course. The objector has thrown a large curveball into this, and that's still a matter that I don't think at this point I can speak too much publicly about, because I don't know where it's going to go. But you know, I don't want to put timeframes on it, but we keep plugging away and doing what they ask us to do.
Is there a problem with counties?
No, nothing to do with counties. Has to do with flows, and what we've shown, and our hydrologists are convinced we're within regulation. You know, it's just been difficult to get through, and a lot of it has to do with the objector. And regarding the objector, that's all I'll say at this time.
Does our assembly people or anybody get involved in things like that, since they're the
More than you,
freeholders closest to us? That we,
big time. Yes, everyone who needs to know about it knows about it.
I got a call from a resident about 4 houses in from on Van Dam. Do we still have a contractor doing desnagging?
No, we did a large desnagging project in 2013. No, it's not on an annual basis. Our DPW monitors it. Matter of fact, I just emailed DPW on Friday, say, hey, check the brooks. Here come the spring rains. And
All right, I'm going to give this guy a call.
Yeah.
Because he reached out to me from the flood committee.
That's perfectly
so
fine,
I'll,
yeah.
I'll go down and see what's going on, and I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
And we'll see if maybe they can go in there saying something about it's dammed up behind the house, and it's,
Yeah.
I don't know if when they went in there the last time by Brandt, they did a good job there. I don't know if something caused something up back by the houses. I'll check it out. And I'll get back.
We spent $20,000-$30,000. It was clean.
Right.
But sad to say, many of the residents dumped debris in the brook.
Yep.
We've pulled out stop signs. We pulled out grass clippings. We've pulled out
Okay.
cut trees. So yeah,
Let me check it out, and then I'll.
let me know, and or Al Gallagher, and he'll be more than happy to. But our guys, at a minimum, quarterly go and do a walkthrough and clear out debris.
Okay. And then about a month and a half ago, I asked you about the DEP with the Tilcon, with them being in the wetlands. Did you find anything out about that?
Being in the wetlands.
Yeah, with them being in the wetlands. Did you find anything out about that? You were going to check into that for me?
Being in the wetlands or encroaching on open space.
Nope. That's the second part. What are we doing about the encroachment?
DEP's been notified of the encroachment on open space. They haven't done mine there. They've done cutting, and they've remedied that with the DEP to their satisfaction.
So what are we doing as a town? Do we do anything as a town for them being in our property?
No, they're gonna. The DEP's requiring them to.
No, I'm talking, two separate items here. I brought up about the DEP and them encroaching on the wetlands, being within the 300 buffer in the mirror track.
Oh, okay. No. We had nothing's been. You're asking me if the borough has gone to the DEP,
Right, you were gonna mention to the DEP that they were there. Have we done that?
but they're not. What do you mean they're there? That's
In the 300-foot buffer, in the mirror track, and I could show you where the stake is. I told you that before. They are in the 300-foot buffer of the wetlands in the mirre track.
okay.
I
And
know
to
that
answer your
for-
question is no. The DEP has not been informed of that.
Okay.
So you know what you do, Jack? Send me a formal request of what you just stated,
Okay.
and I'll have Fred review, and If you feel we should send it to the DEP, by all means we will, but nothing's been done since you and
Okay.
I may have had a brief
And then the
conversation.
second thing was, what are we doing as a town for where they've encroached on the open space piece of our property?
Again, that has been brought to the attention before any of these discussions on this concept. And the DEP has, I don't believe they were fined. You and I talked about it briefly. They made them remediate the problem. They're not mining it. They had to, whether, I don't know if they replanted or what is the borough doing locally? I mean, there's nothing we can do other than follow the discord of the DEP, which would be replanting if all they've done was remove trees.
Why couldn't we do anything? They're in our property. It's ours, right?
it's-
The Highlands?
Well, it's Green Acres, borough deeded.
Green Acres, and I think
Open
it
space.
came up because the DEP does, routine inspections of Green Acres property. So I'm not saying they do it every week, but
Right.
in whatever the inspection process was, it came up. And at that point in time, as the mayor said, this predates all of this. My recollection was that it was an issue that the DEP had with the encroachment,
Right.
and they had to remedy, as the mayor said. It's a lot of it, in some respects, is a DEP jurisdictional issue, because there's restrictions on the deed
Okay.
that flow back to the DEP. I mean, beyond that, there hasn't been anything else, but I don't know if, what beyond the remedy of them satisfying the DEP and putting things back and things of that nature, that always has more teeth than anything else. I mean, if you're not, otherwise you're in
Well,
violation.
right, they're gonna come before them for a license or whatever they're gonna
Well,
come.
whether they do or not, the DEP has jurisdiction to fine them, issued violations, things like that. At the time, it didn't have as much attention as maybe it would if it happened today. So at the time, I think what we were notified was, hey, this matter, it's gonna be something the DEP is gonna deal with, Tilcon, and they did, and it was ultimately remedied from that respect. This was a few years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, when they did their mapping, I remember that the topo showed the extension,
Right.
the expansion into Green Acres property. So,
All right, and unfortunately, I wasn't here last meeting. I see that you sent the concept to the planning board. When are they gonna review that?
again, that's based on their schedule. I don't think knowing what they have on their agenda, I don't think it'll be till June. But I'm not quite sure. I don't set that calendar.
Where would I be able to find that?
Well, Barbara is Neinstadt, our tax collector, is our planning board secretary. It'll be posted on the website.
I've been looking.
Well, because it's not average, nothing yet. I'm confident, but don't hold me to it, that'll be June, but you'd have to call Barbara.
Okay.
But again,
It will be on the website.
oh, absolutely, when they post their agenda, sure.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
Anyone else, please?
Linda Huntley, 86 Van Dam. I read with quite a bit of interest the article in the Trends on Sunday about the Silcon Quarry in Riverdale and how there have been a number of issues in Riverdale. And I just wanted to mention it to the council, and hopefully the council will take it into consideration when they are trying to decide what to do, because it appears that Tilcon, who is in Riverdale now, the members of the Tilcon Council, of the Riverdale Council, and the members of the public in Riverdale are not too happy with Tilcon. So before we go in and extend and give them more property to acquire, that we should really consider the concerns of other people that are going through this already.
Absolutely, and I've read the article myself, and our borough engineer is also Riverdale's borough engineer, so I will be asking him to give me some more detailed information on exactly what occurred over there. Thank you. Anyone else, please? Seeing no one, motion to close?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, governing body schedule, regular meeting April 21st, work session May 5th. I need a motion to go into an executive session where we have one matter of attorney-client privilege, 2 matters litigation, 2 matters of negotiation. Who makes that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
7:39, we're in executive session, 5-minute recess.